Welcome to Legends Arceus. I'll be honest, when this game was announced, I was about to shit my pants. I was so excited to finally have a Pokemon game like this. Running around and tossing balls, riding on Pokemon across a vast world. But I also have to admit that every time a new trailer dropped, I got a little more scared. Would the frame rate be okay? How would the game handle movement on Pokemon? Why is Nintendo using models that look the same as the ones they've used for the last 10 years? And most importantly, would the world just be empty? Every time a trailer dropped, it looked like the game was still unfinished. And it didn't improve even as the final trailer dropped just 4 days before the game's release. I was so afraid that this game would be awful that I decided not to buy it until I had watched someone else play it. This did not last. I purchased Legends Arceus the second day it was out, deciding to make a judgment for myself via first impressions, and that would be better than seeing it through someone else's stream. And so, I began my Pokemon journey completely blind except for a few spoilers about new Pokemon forms. And I'm here to share it all with you. If you plan on purchasing this game for yourself, please skip to the second half of this video. I'll be giving my thoughts on the game itself with as few spoilers as possible. But this first part is going to be my actual experience playing the game, and I will be spoiling literally everything. So here's your warning, and here's a timestamp. Now for all of you who don't care about spoilers or already played the game, let's get into it. My journey begins with God stealing my iPhone. This is what I get for being an atheist. I'm then thrown out of the sky, landing at Prelude Beach, where I'm greeted by a strange man in a funny hat. He reveals himself to be this region's professor, and I'm greeted by a catching tutorial right after discovering that God decided to replace my iPhone with a Galaxy S7. Dude, come on, don't you know these things explode? This tutorial is actually quite informative since the gameplay has changed so much, but I'll talk about that in the latter half of the video. I'm brought into the village, told to fuck off by an old man selling soup. My friend reenacts the rock meme. And finally I get to explain to about 15 people that I fell from the sky and don't remember anything. I'm told that I'm being sent to die in the wilderness unless I can catch 3 goofballs out in the field. And so I go and do that in about 30 seconds with the help of my starter. If you honestly think that I'd choose anything besides my favorite starter from my favorite region, you're dead wrong. Everyone is impressed since Pokemon are seen as savage creatures in this time period, and I'm sent to see the real boss. After a quick fade to black that I can only imagine is a dramatic sex scene, the commander says "Among Us," and I'm told that I need to complete the Pokédex in order to be accepted by the people of the village. Overnight, a Pokemon went berserk in the woods and started murdering people, so naturally the village sends the new guy to deal with it. This Pokemon is a noble, basically a super strong Pokemon lord that helps people out and keeps the wild Pokemon in check around it. I talked to some kid in the forest that told me to go fuck myself, and then in order to get the noble itself, I need to acquire deer. On the way to do so, I ran into a shiny Geodude. I wasn't even hunting for this guy, he just showed up about an hour and a half into my playtime, which is awesome. I smacked my balls into him, and behold, YouTube content creator luck. Truly incredible. I wasn't joking when I said I need to acquire deer, and at the top of the hill I met with the leader of Diamond Clan, who taught me a beautiful melody that will summon Weirdeer to my side for some fast transportation. The immediate next thing to test is if there was fall damage in this game. The answer is yes. Yes, there is. Using my newly acquired deer, I ran back to the forest where I kindly proceeded to chloroform the noble cleaver until all the piss left his body. Doing so gifted me with a plate. And when I got back to the village, my good friend Volo, who I forgot to mention earlier, read some shit on it and told me to find some more before leaving to pick up his kids. I went to Benny's to eat some potatoes and meet up with Arizu, who is the second best character in the game, don't at me. I'm told that I need to chloroform a bear next, and I head into the local swamp. There, I meet an elderly woman who got robbed, and when I offer to help, I'm immediately told to fuck off. There seems to be a running theme here. Volo shows up again to tell me to believe in myself, and I break the legs of some local thieves, returning a rock and warming the heart of an old lady. I beat the shit out of a bear, play a song for it, and now I can use it as a car to find buried treasure, which I literally never did all game. Instead, the best character in the game, Adaman, the guy with the deer earlier, told me that Arizu, the second best character, got lost or some shit. I use the bear to sniff her out, and then I go to fight another piss Pokemon. Lilligant is considerably more difficult than Axeman, but still pretty easy, and I once again remove the piss from it. Volo once again congratulates me, tells me I'm a gamer, says I'm a cool friend, and leaves to get some Taco Bell. I ate some soup, Arizu became a hairstylist, and I'm told I need to go to the ocean.
向こうにいる敵全部殺せば俺たち自由になれるのか
Then, I got myself a style change and headed out. Immediately, I was greeted by Pink Girl, the leader of the Pearl clan and also a little bitch that just complains all the time. She battles me, so I pepper spray her dogs, but before I do anything else, I feel like attending some outbreaks. I'll talk about how these work in more detail later, but right now, all you need to know is that I caught a shiny Scyther as well. This is truly content creator luck. Heading back to work, I met up with Polina, the caretaker of a Growlithe who hasn't yet become a noble. His dad died and he's traumatized, so he's taking this whole thing a bit slow. On the bright side, it means he hasn't acquired the piss yet. Volo got lost trying to find the Taco Bell, so he's standing around in the woods, but he says I remind him of an ancient hero of legend and quickly resumes his search for his Crunchwrap Supreme. That's kind of funny, Volo. You kind of remind me of someone too. After that interaction, I met Iscan, I think is how you say that. A scaredy cat that can apparently help me acquire fish, so I help him make some spooky soup and feed it to the local sea monster. After learning a new song on my flute, I can now traverse the water without drowning in 2 goddamn seconds. Unfortunately, those bandits from before have gotten replacement kneecaps, meaning they can kidnap a dog, except they get the wrong one, because the noble is smaller than they thought. In order to get him back, I ride over to Firespit Island and ascend the volcano. I track them down as they're attempting to traumatize the dog into evolving, but after smashing their hands with bricks, they decide to give up. The little noble decides to help out and evolves to take on the role of the Pokemon Lord. Unfortunate timing, however, since he is immediately pissed on from the sky. Luckily, however, I'm able to chloroform him into submission, removing the piss after I die a time or two. I head back into town, the commander tells me good job, I eat some soup, and the next morning I'm greeted by a surprisingly familiar face. This better be explained in the DLC. Anyway, Adaman is back, and this time the noble Electrode is being a problem, so he brings in Electrode's warden, Millie. Now, in this intro scene, Millie is clearly meant to be hated. He is by far the most dislikable character I have met so far, and he just keeps getting fucking worse. I complete some side quests, acquire Growlithe Drip, and meet up with the obscure train reference to head out and calm down Electrode. On the way, we need to go through a dark tunnel that Millie has oh so kindly removed all the light from, and we get to enjoy talking with Choo Choo Man some more. As a side note, Ingo is a super cool character to introduce in this game, and I really like that he's here, but I really hope he gets a bigger story arc and a bit of explanation in some DLC down the line, because right now, he doesn't make much sense. We make it through the tunnel and meet up with Volo, who talks about how the piss portal opened in the past and something on the other side was making Pokemon angry, before deciding that he misses his kids and leaves in an attempt to overturn child custody rulings. Trainman shows us the coolest battle intro in the whole game before teaching us a new song. This time to summon Sneasler, who helps us climb up vertical surfaces. With its help, I'm able to reach the arena where Electrode is, and after Millie fights us, refuses to help, and then bitches for a while, Adaman shows up and tells him to pull his head out of his ass. Millie reluctantly helps us chloroform Electrode after quite a struggle, and we head back to the village, one step further into our story. After some soup and some sleep, I awakened the leaders of the clan standing outside my bedroom. only to be told that one noble Pokemon remains enraged. There's a bit of a moral dilemma this time around, as Avalugg hasn't hurt anyone yet, but it's eventually decided that it needs to be calmed regardless, as it could cause massive damage. Mission Lady may be a hard ass, but she's afraid of bugs and tells me to head out, which I promptly do. I travel to mandatory snow level and meet up with Garrick, the Pearl Clan Warden, taking care of Avalugg, who doesn't seem bothered by it being frenzied, and after a battle tells me I need to acquire Bird before reaching Avalugg. A girl named Sabby appears, instigating a game of tag until I catch up to her and push her down some fucking stairs. She teaches me the bird song, and with that, I've already rendered Sneasler entirely useless. Sorry, Ingo. I fly to the top of a glacier and begin the showdown with the Piss Giant. This is actually a really difficult fight, because there's a whole bunch of input lag from my switch to my capture card, so dodging is actually really difficult, but I make it through and remove the piss once again. I head back home, eat some soup, and head to bed. In the morning, I wake up to a nightmare hellscape outside. The sky has turned red, and the blame is on me since I came out of the sky piss portal, which is basically Tuesday in the regular world, but whatever. The commander decides that he's had enough of me and that I can't be trusted, and Silene escorts me out of the village. I look around for help, but neither of the clans can assist me, as it would begin a war with the Galaxy team, leaving me on my own. Well, not quite. Volo is back from the Court of Appeals and decides that only the Ginkgo Guild can assist me without risking war now, since they're not allied with anyone else. They have free reign. I'm brought to the final area of the game, the Plot Hole Cabin. There, I meet a woman named Kogita, who tells me that I need to craft the callback chain by visiting the 3 lake spirits. Before I leave, though, Mission Lady shows her true colors as a real sweetheart, allowing me to switch Pokemon if I need to, which I don't. But thanks anyway. Then I get to decide which clan I want to assist me while the other distracts Galaxy team. I wonder who I should choose. The lady that has done nothing but be useless, argue, and complain all game, or the guy who gave me my first car. Not a hard choice. Adaman and Volo join me in search of the lake spirits, and the power of the Galaxy S7 blows a hole in the side of the rock, revealing a hidden cave where the first spirit resides. I catch the favorite member of my team here, an elite Goodra, before getting the first of the spirit's blessings by giving some emotions up. Now I'm just a cold calculating killer. Next up, I beat up another weird-looking dog, and this time entered the number from Lost in order to get Yuxi's blessing. Finally, I head to Azelf for the last piece, the Plume of Willpower. This test was to try to hit Azelf with a rock, but it always teleported away. It gave me many chances to give up, but Mama didn't raise no bitch, and finally Azelf stood still as I readied my final bomb. And missed. I'm not even joking, you're actually supposed to hit it here while it's standing completely still, and it actually connects this time. I just missed on complete accident because I'm literally the worst at this game. Luckily, Azelf had mercy on me and just pretended that I hit it, giving me the final blessing. We craft the red chain right before I'm informed that the commander of Galaxy Team is heading to the space-time rift to shoot it or something, so I rush back home to meet up with everyone right before the big final fight. The captain tells me I did a good job surviving and that she totally didn't help me out, I love her, before ordering me to save the world. Volo says he believes in me. I climb up a mountain and enter the path to the top. Upon my entry, I'm greeted by Potato Man. Then he uses the Naruto transition to transform into a cosplayer, and I begin my battle with him. Honestly, he's a real pushover, and I absolutely obliterate him. He says that I should go save the commander from himself, and that he'll literally kill me with food. And I'm on my way to the top. Adaman and the pink bitch are still waiting at the top, but can't do anything because lore, so I head up to fight the commander. He claims I still can't be trusted, and even after the clan leaders yell at him, he wants to battle me to prove I'm worthy. I slap his ass and proceed to the unstable space-time rift. Adaman gets a Pokemon inside of him, Time Boy gets red chained, and I catch him pretty easily. That isn't the end of things, though, as Adaman gets a migraine, and Spaceman rips open the rift, considerably more enraged than Time Boy. The red chain is broken from its last use, meaning we all need to run before we get torn from the fabric of reality. The commander finally admits that I'm pretty cool, and Adaman gets one last text from Dialga telling him that we need to unite 3 worlds. The professor realizes that we need to combine the red chain, an ancient piece of Hisui, and human technology to create what's basically the prototype Master Ball. We already have pieces of the red chain as well as Pokeballs, so all we need to do is find some old rock. Luckily, we have Bug Boy's help, and we quickly find it right before being stopped by the three thieves once again. They clearly have not learned from their prior mistakes, and this time after I beat them they just threaten me. Very cool, coming from the people I just pummeled. The plot ball is crafted and Kogita shows up to do some shopping, and she honestly has a great point. Like, if the world ends, there'll be no time like the present to acquire drip. I head back into the mountain once again, this time with Volo waiting for me to sell me some stuff, and I head up to the big man himself. I throw a ball, he turns into a horse, and the true battle can begin. What a fantastic soundtrack, my god. I black out around 9 times during the fight, but luckily Polkia camped my corpse instead of destroying the world. I throw the plot ball, catch it, and everything goes back to normal. The two clans finally accept that both of their gods are real and they can stop arguing about it because a 12-year-old just enslaved both of them. The credits roll, and the main story is over. But that's not all, because it's time for... Volo shows up and tells me he wants to show me a cool rock he found, so we head into the wilderness and I get jumped by a bee. It gives me another plate, and Volo says that I should collect the rest of them, and the person that would know more about them is clearly Miss Kogita. As a side note, I haven't really mentioned this up until now, but every noble Pokemon, as well as a few others like Weirdeer, have given me plates as I've progressed through the story, so this is where they finally become important. Kogita tells me that she has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, but that I can go catch some legendaries now. So I head out to do what I do best, huck some balls of wild animals. After that lovely break, I finally obtain all the plates except one. That's strange. Volo asks me to meet him at the temple where the weird dogs appeared, so I head on over. And he's the obvious twist villain. I won't lie to you, this fight is actually hard as fuck. I hadn't really been using grit items up to this point, which raise your Pokemon's stats, and oh boy, it showed. He has a full team, and whenever your opponent switches Pokemon, they get attack priority most of the time, almost always guaranteeing a revenge KO. It took me an embarrassing amount of tries to beat this man, but it's alright since I got to listen to a remaster of Cynthia's theme, which was badass. I finally beat his full team, which for some reason resembled a previous character's. And with that, it was finally... wait, no? What? Wait, Giratina? Oh, he has 7 Pokemon instead of a full 6? Jesus, okay, well, I'll just beat this one too. And with that, it was finally... Wait, what the there's a second phase to this boss? You're telling me I need to fight 8 Pokemon? What? I love it! That's awesome! Finally, after all of that, Volo disappears, and that is truly the end of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, before we go into the full gameplay review, I need to talk about the post-game because I have one major problem with it, and since that's a huge spoiler, we'll be talking about it here instead of the next section, which is supposed to be mostly spoiler-free. My main problem is that this last fight comes out of nowhere. This is fantastic. An 8 Pokemon long fight is incredible, literally never done before. I love it as essentially the final boss. As you see Volo standing there, it's super obvious that this is going to be the last fight, but the game takes you by complete surprise throwing Giratina at the end. I don't have a problem with this, let me be clear, because I think that twist on the battle is awesome. No, my problem is with the UI in this battle. Let me show you something. You see this? You see how when I open my bag in this battle, I have the option to select Pokeballs? I thought you were supposed to catch Giratina here. Oh, but Mason, Volo is clearly in the background, see? You're just stupid. First of all, yes. But second, even with Volo there, they should have grayed out Pokeballs in your bag. Because literally every other time that a legendary has appeared in front of you in a battle in this game, you've had the option to catch it. Literally every time. But for some reason, you can't do it in this battle. And I don't like that because I lost an attempt trying to catch this fucker and had to do the whole Volo fight over because of it. If that one option had just been unavailable in my bag, I would have literally no problem with this, but I had to do a little complaining before we get to the spoiler-free area. Welcome to the mostly spoiler-free gameplay section of the video, where I will do my absolute best to not give any of the story or surprises away. I'll be going over a couple of sections individually, beginning with the biggest question I hear people ask is about gameplay changes and if they work, to which I only have one response.
Yes.
Catching Pokemon has become an incredibly streamlined process. I don't need to wander in the grass, watch a battle opening, use a few attacks to get the Pokemon low, throw a Pokeball, wait for 3 shakes, click past a screen of XP, a Pokédex page, a nickname option, and an option to send the Pokemon to a box just to catch a fucking Zigzagoon. Instead, I see a Pokemon, throw a ball, and walk away with all of the XP gained in a pop-up on the left that lasts for a second or two. This makes catching new Pokemon more fun than ever, streamlining the process and making it incredibly satisfying to catch multiple Pokemon at once. It's fast, it's easy, and it's very fun. There's still a few Pokemon you're forced to battle in order to catch, but most of these are legendaries, so it's more of an experience. Trainer battles have basically been removed aside from a few plot-based fights, but even those are more fun due to the battle changes. Not only was the speed system reworked to have different styles of moves to give you priority, stats were adjusted overall, making most fights a one-shot fest in either direction. This combined with the fact that knocking out someone's Pokemon gives them priority on the switch-in means that trainer battles in the game can be mildly difficult, which I believe is a serious plus for the series. A lot of the time-consuming grind was removed for a far faster XP system that rewards you for catching Pokemon, and XP candies and evolution items are readily available with some minor detours to outbreaks and side quests. The movement is good, and the Pokemon that you're able to ride add a lot of options for traversing the world, although you can only throw Pokeballs from the fish, which I think is a huge mistake. I want to carpet bomb an area with balls on my birds, but whatever, it's workable. The dodging system is fine, but during my whole playtime, I never once got knocked out by a random Pokemon while I was exploring. You don't black out if all of your party gets KO'd like in previous games. Your character needs to get physically attacked themselves by the Pokemon in the world. This is almost never a problem, but the true danger is only prevalent before you receive the fish. In this game, 10 inches of water will instantly kill you, and it's really annoying. I think that the method of unlocking new items through the star system is good, as you can collect Pokemon in order to use better items, and the rework of EVs and IVs make it so I don't want to fucking kill myself anymore. Now raising stats is as simple as using some rocks on your Pokemon. Exploring is entertaining, although not terribly rewarding unless you're trying to get to a certain Pokemon, as the world is mostly empty. There are a few villages with side quests, but the main reason that you explore and travel is to find new Pokemon. Now for aesthetics. Let's talk about graphics. I don't think it comes as a shock to anyone that this game looks like dog shit. Now hold on, before you Pokemon stans in the comments scream at me about how art direction is more important than graphics, I agree with you. One of my favorite games of all time was the original Final Fantasy VII, and that game had like 4 polygons in the entire 2-disc collection. What mattered was the areas you explored. The power plant, in particular, was so well made that in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, you can tell it's exactly the same. Conversely, I look at Mount Coronet in this game and see Mountain from Open World game number 276. The art direction in this game is non-existent, and the graphics are even worse. There are a few good areas, like the walk up to the temple, but most of the map doesn't resemble Sinnoh, it just has the same names. You can tell that this is an early version of the region if you look at the map, but I want you to tell me what this is. What area is this? What area is this in the modern day Diamond and Pearl games? If you said that this random collection of a few copy and pasted tree textures was one of the most iconic early game areas in the Sinnoh region, you would be wrong. This is just some random collection of trees. This random collection of copy and pasted tree textures is Eterna Forest. It really sucks that the art direction is pretty bad, but what's worse is the graphics. Now that I've cherry-picked examples that prop up my argument about art direction, we can look at the game itself. And let me be honest, everything in this game looks like it was covered with a fine layer of Grimer. And not an Alolan Grimer, because then the world would have more than 2 or 3 colors in it. This world looks terrible. Everything from the copy and pasted tree textures to what feels like the same models used since 2013. Pokemon enter this weird framey animation whenever they're on the edge of the render distance, and speaking of, the render distance is smaller than the average Pokemon fan's dick. I know people will say that they couldn't fix it because the Switch can't handle higher graphics, but that is blatantly untrue. Look at Breath of the Wild, which is one of the most beautiful Nintendo games ever made. And not only that, there are people already making mods for Legends Arceus, which not only improve graphics, but fix models and increase render distance too. And none of these seriously impact the game's performance as far as I've seen. I understand that building an entire world takes a lot of resources, but Pokemon is literally the highest grossing franchise ever. To me, this seems like cheap, time-saving work, and I have to say that I'm disappointed. On the other hand, let's talk about something fantastic. This game's soundtrack is amazing. It has that Pokemon feel with the high flutes and chimes, but is distinctly old-fashioned, with a lot of tracks using multiple wind instruments and strings clearly stylized to an older region. A lot of the original Gen 4 music has been remade here, and it's beautiful to hear it all again, including one particular in-game theme that gave me goosebumps every time I listened to it, but that would be spoilers. My only complaint with the music is that it doesn't play often enough. A lot of time when you're exploring the overworld, there's very little to no music, and it only kicks in on story beats, battles, or certain areas. I adore the music in this game, and I don't have anything else bad to say about it, so we're moving on. It shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone watching that the story for Legends Arceus fucking sucks. Don't worry, I won't spoil anything, we had a pinky promise. But I just wanted to talk about the writing, and you'll understand if you played it. Pokemon games are not renowned for their story. After all, this game is marketed towards babies and illiterate neckbeards, so they won't care anyway. But even then, this is pretty low. The characters are boring, except for Diamond Man and Red Hair Girl. You'll know who I'm talking about if you watch the first half. The challenges are easy, and the story is barely understandable. With the amount of shit that just happens without explanation, you'd think we were in a play written by a high school student. It's hard to believe that adults greenlit anything this boring, but story has never really been the focus of these games, so I'm willing to let it slide. But it can certainly be improved upon, please. If I had to describe Legends Arceus in a sentence, I'd go with okay, but better as a stepping stone. This game comes across as lazy. Even with patches coming out to fix bugs and add features, it feels like it was incredibly rushed, which it probably was with one mainline game a year from Game Freak. The gameplay formula is fantastic, and if Nintendo can polish up the graphics, the story, and just add a little more content, I think that the next game in this genre will be fantastic. I look at this game and I'm happy that I bought it, but it hurts to imagine what it could have been with another 2 or 3 years of development. A larger Pokédex, more things to interact with in the overworld, better side quests, and for the love of God, better graphics would have made this game infinitely more enjoyable. Game Freak is really stepping outside their comfort zone for this one, and I applaud that. I think this is a great direction for the series to go, but this game feels like it was more of a beta test than a full $60 release. If you want to try it out for yourself before buying it, I have no idea where you could possibly do that, and for legal reasons, I will absolutely not inform you about the Yuzu Switch emulator that you can find for free online. For fans of the series, I recommend this game. I think it's fun enough to warrant the price if you have money to spend, and you'll understand what you want for games in the series later on, which is always a good thing to voice to Nintendo, even if they never fucking listen. Legends Arceus is a great stepping stone, and an alright game. It's fun, but rushed, and that's incredibly obvious. This is the most honest review I can possibly make, and whether you love or hate the game, whether you bought it or not, I hope that we can all look forward to the future of this game series with brighter eyes and excitement in our hearts. Pokemon has always been about childlike wonder to me, and I felt that in this game, even if it was fleeting. So hopefully, you can too. And that's where the video would have ended. If Pokemon Day hadn't come around and announced Generation 9 less than a fucking month after Arceus, are you joking, Game Freak? What the fuck are you doing? One mainline release a year is already too rushed, now you're doing 2? Everyone at this fucking company is out of their goddamn minds. And now I feel cheated. Look at this trailer, look at it. What do you see? Look at all those cool Pokemon that weren't in Legends Arceus. These models are very clearly rendered using the same engine. You could have put all of these in Arceus, but instead we're getting an entirely new game. You see that shit? More than one tree model that's copy and pasted. The graphics still look like ass, but they're better than this shitty game. Why, Game Freak? Why would you not wait another year or two and make an actually good game? Stop rushing these games out for cash and give us the full fucking decks again. Update models, give us fucking voice acting. For Arceus' sake, the CDI Zelda games had voice acting, and Pokemon is the most profitable franchise ever. This is a damn shame, because now I know why Arceus is so unfinished. Violet and Scarlet were clearly a higher priority. This game could have just been delayed another year or two. Hell, Violet and Scarlet could have been delayed another 2 years, and both of these games would have been much better. Game Freak, I am fucking begging you to stop pumping out a game a year. You are embarrassing yourselves. I swear to God, if Dex cuts get justified by the same fucking excuse of creating assets takes too long, but hundreds of Pokemon get added in a DLC that uses the same goddamn models you've been using for 9 fucking years comes out, I'm gonna flip shit. Everything you do is lazy and rushed, Game Freak. Just please God bring me back to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. God, those games were so good. Bring me back to Black and White when we didn't get dex cuts and worse graphics every generation. And you know what? It keeps working. Everyone still buys the Pokemon games because everyone loves Pokemon. I'm part of the problem. I'll buy these games too, and I just complained about it for 3 minutes. Oh well. At least all 3 of the starters actually look good. Maybe it won't be so bad after all. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm gonna go lay down.